listening to my song, Hype Joint. This that no nigga with the bass and the bang, make it do, yo. Hit you with the 5 elements, like 5 elephants. Let him know I'm relevant, I'm heaven sent, telling him we're from a whole nother galaxy. I'm actually born from the static sea. Ass to be crazy, I'm trying to be amazing. Next big thing kinda has a nice ring. Bada boom, bada bing. You love it when I go off, when you're so lost and it's so awesome. I get it cause I am from where the stars from. I'm Martian, the boogie down's the motherland. Cool arcs the overlord and we are just a cover band. I love the land I'm in, but everyone's opinionated, insinuating the word and sin, only then you hate it. I'm always getting so high so you can gaze up. I'm going Super Saiyan, hence the reason that I blaze up. It's future mayhem and invasion in the game, no more mumbling. I'm actually saying something, you lame ass suckers. The beat is infinite where I'm from, and the timeline has only begun. You stunned?
Dance, dance.
To the beat, let 'em move your feet. This is our language, where we're from. Just move to the waves of the drum. You just spoke in a native tongue.
All right. Finally, he starts turning the theme song down. Anyways, welcome everybody here to the roundtable on HamiltonRadio.net channel HR2. I am your host, John Brecco, and I'm very, very excited to bring this show to you guys today. We have our usual suspects. Bleh. We got Victoria Skaplin, Chino De Leon. How you guys feeling? You good?
What up?
All right. We also got our guest host tonight. He is Matt Nelson, sports broadcaster, former commentator for the Harlem Globetrotters, which I actually found out 2 minutes before this show, which was awesome. First of all, Matt, I want to ask how you're doing. You doing good?
I'm doing all right. Taco Tuesday, my friend.
Taco Tuesday. What'd you put on your taco, bro? Because you look a little. You're looking like you're struggling. He started squinting his eyes. You know, he was looking like it's like rumbling through there. He looks like he's holding his stomach too.
Oh, it had some onions.
On my tacos, I'm more of a ground beef kind of guy with lettuce, pico, some extra salsa, cheese, sour cream. I also like my guac as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, he definitely has to take a shit. All right, but I do want to ask you an honest question though before we get to our guest, because he's a pro wrestler and this is actually new for you. So I want to ask, how was doing research for the show? Did it go smooth? You know, did you have any trouble? How was it?
Honestly, I was able to find my way through. You know, I did my research, found our guest on, let's see, Instagram, Twitter. I found his YouTube page, watched some videos of him, you know, doing his thing, even during COVID, which I would love to really get to know exactly how that experience was for him. Sure. In our current, you know, age, while everyone's going through a rough time, even though it's hopefully going to be better with the vaccine that's been slowly distributed to all of our first line responders and whatnot. So, but yeah, I think I did my research.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to make sure everything went smoothly for you. But anyways, we've got our very, very special guest. He's a pro wrestler. He worked with WWE for a time. He's also a sports broadcaster, just like myself and Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared Diaz is here. How you doing, my man? You feeling good?
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. John, Matt, Chino, Victoria, thank you very much for having me. I'm humbled to be here.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming, 100%. But the first thing that I want to ask, you know, I'd ask a general question, and this could really be for Matt as well. How are you guys doing with everything going on, you know, with COVID, all the things that have been going on, you know, throughout this fuck shit year that is known as 2020? How you guys doing, man?
You know, it's a weird time. It's a weird year. I am in New York City, which is one of the places that got hit the hardest, and then was one of the places that was able to wipe out a lot of its cases. So just with the way that the world has been opening and closing around me, it's been very difficult. And Matt touched on it a little bit earlier. It's tough to work and tough to wrestle during these times. So it's a new experience, but I can't say my year was too bad. I've been healthy. My family's been healthy. I've been lucky enough to not lose anyone at this time. and I know COVID is taking a lot of lives. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to be good. I'm happy to be able to do something like this, and I don't have too much to complain about. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, compared to what some of the other people are going through, I agree with you 100%. You know, I'm like you, I'm blessed enough to, not have lost anybody. You know, the worst thing that happened to us is my girlfriend's hours got cut, but they're back now. So, this has been a year where I've really been trying to count my blessings wherever I can get them. The fact that, we're still able to do the show, the fact that, this has actually allowed me to connect with a lot more people than, I would have previously. By the way, let me give a shout out to Mike Warren, who got me in touch with Jarrett. Guy I went to high school with, guy I work with at WBCB right now. Super good guy. He got us in touch, so I got to give him a shout out.
Mike's one of my favorite people. I'll be sure to, tell him you guys took care of me.
Hey, man, I've been trying to. Although we were having a conversation, though, before we got on the air, me, Chino, Victoria, we're all fucking around. And he was looking at us a little bit cross-eyed. I got a little bit concerned, I'm not going to lie. But he looks relaxed right now,
What
so
did I get
I'm happy
myself
about
into?
that. Anyways, Matt, the question's for you, too. How you been?
Wow. I'm not really sure how to sum up this year because I begin the new year on tour with the Globetrotters in Milwaukee. Found out I had a medical condition while I was on tour that was preventing me from doing part of my job, non-announcing related. So came home. Surgery had to be put off until July because of COVID. Once I was medically cleared, I went to my backup plan once I found out that Big Ten fall sports were being put on hold because I do some work at Rutgers. But I feel like I've been making the most out of it. I mean, I'm working multiple jobs, a very similar job to what you were doing, John, as far as 9 to 5 goes. Sports have come back into my life to an extent. Obviously, no fans in where I'm working right now. But, I also bought a car last month. So I would say the second half of 2020 has gone a lot better than the first half.
All right. Well, that's definitely a good thing. When this all happened to me, comedy shows started getting canceled. We didn't know what was going to happen with the station. I was really confused when a lot of that happened. And, it was crazy how everything went. Shows started going virtual. It was a weird adjustment for me for sure, especially with the games, too, when we started doing those. Because, like you said, there's limited fans, if we get any at all. And, everybody's social distance, it's a weird time, 100% for sure, man. But you've been able to adjust okay, I'm guessing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, face masks wherever I go. I usually don't wear my face mask when I'm talking into the mic just because I feel like my voice, can project a little bit more when the mask is halfway on. But, yeah. I've been able to adjust fairly well, and 2020 has been a bad year for a lot of us out there, but I think 2021, especially with the vaccine that was recently released to first-line responders, I think it's going to really work its wonders. And if what Dr. Fauci and the folks over at Pfizer are saying, and that it's 95% effective, then by all means, 2021 is going to be a bounce back year for a lot of Americans.
Oh, for sure. It's going to take some people a little bit of time too, but definitely we're going to bounce back 100%. And I feel like we're going to be stronger. But here's something that, I got to talk about for a little bit. You brought up like the mask and, being able to talk in it. When you're talking to somebody like in person though, I really hate it because some of these people sound like the teacher from Charlie Brown. Their voice gets like all muffled and shit, just like through the mask and shit. I hate having conversations with people and, they're wearing it because I can't fucking hear them properly. But I got to tell you, Jared mentioned that he's in New York, and I've done a couple of shows in Brooklyn. I've been able to do a couple because they've been able to get Eastville Comedy Club up and running, and it's just really different. The streets, don't look the same because like there's nobody on them.
Ghost.
You know, you're walking through Brooklyn, there's nothing. I never thought I would be in a subway cart by myself until I was coming back from one of the shows. It was insane. I've never seen New York like this, and it freaks me out. It really does because, you know, compared to how I'm used to seeing it, it's nice to have space because, you know, I'm too fat to be packed like a sardine, you know, just trying to make my way into the subway, all right? So, I mean, on one hand, you know, like I said, I'm counting my blessings, but, you know, again, it's an adjustment. But, you know, as we said, Jarrett, you're a pro wrestler, and people usually have stories about how they become a wrestling fan, you know, whether it's a match they watch, an event they went to, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing I want to know is, how did you become a fan of pro wrestling in general?
So I was a child of divorce. Let's start it there. And both parents working, New York City, Puerto Ricans, we're all working, right? So after school program, you got kids with their, you know, action figures, you got kids with their Game Boys and their PlayStation portables. I had a classmate with a PSP who was playing SmackDown versus Raw 2007.
Okay.
And when I tell you that it was the animation of Shawn Michaels hitting Sweet Chin Music, that was all it took. It was on board. I said,
Hey, man.
I'm 9, 10 years old. 10. I'm 10 years old. I say to them, I said, what in God's name is in your hand right now? I need more of this. He says, oh, it's WWE, it's wrestling. It happens to be a Monday night. He says, tonight is Monday Night Raw on USA at 9 o'clock. Go watch it. I watch it, turn it on. I watched Jeff Hardy do a suicide dive onto Umaga, and that was it. I thought, moment number one, I said, oh, that's what I have to do. That I have to do that.
Wow. All right.
And it's not like I took a direct path to that. I was playing football at the time. I was a kid. I played football through high school into college. That was my intention. But I always thought to myself, when I'm done with this, I need to go wrestle.
Yeah.
So that path ends, and I decide that I can go pursue this now.
How old were you when you first started?
When I first started wrestling, so I dipped my toes when I was 18. I just graduated from high school around the time where a lot of WWE talent was getting fired in 2014. And so Kurt Hawkins, who had just been released, had opened up a wrestling school in Long Island. Now, if you know Kurt Hawkins, he's a career WWE guy. He made a name on the indies. He was away from WWE, gets re-signed. And so during that time where he was on the independents, he opens up this school about an hour from my place. And I knew I was going to go away to play college football. I went to the middle of nowhere, Indiana, to play. But before I left, I said, let me take the summer and just wrestle. I'm going to work out and I'm going to wrestle. So I dipped my toes. I wrestled and trained for 2 months, learned some of the basics, your rolls, your bumps, running the ropes, things like that. Just the stuff they teach you to see if you will quit. And I dipped my toes, and then I went and played football. When I finished that, I was 20. I moved to Florida about a year and a half later, and that's when I started wrestling full time.
Okay, gotcha. So how was it for the first 2 months? What was the experience like? You know, give me, you know, a little bit of the details about how you kind of felt, you know, going through that, you know, that first couple months dipping your toes in.
Probably one of the hardest things I've ever put myself through. At 18 years old, I knew I was going to play football, right? I was in shape. I'm a quarterback, was a quarterback. So I'm not a huge guy, but my cardio is up and I'm strong enough. So I'm, you know, learning how to take these bumps and running the ropes and doing all this cardio, all the things, again, to make sure that you won't quit. They want to work you through the hard stuff, and then you get to learn moves and chains and wrestling and all that stuff.
Okay.
So day number one, you get through the end of it, how to fall, how to roll, how to run in the ring, how to move in the ring. You wake up the next morning and you don't want to go back. Your body hurts, your back hurts, your neck hurts, your legs are sore, your head hurts from throwing yourself at planks of wood. And if you can get through that first soreness, that first body pain, you're going to be fine. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll stick it out through wrestling school, right? Times get tough and maybe you're not so good at it. But if you can make it through that first day, you're going to keep going. And you get addicted to that feeling.
You want to know how I know it hurts him? Because his fucking New York accent come out. He was like, your neck hurts, your back hurts, your head hurts. Everything just fucking hurts, okay?
I think
like he sounded like he's in a fucking Joe Pesci movie.
I think
that's how I know it was fucking painful.
The more passion I get, the more passionate I get, the more it comes out.
I mean, I feel it, man. It's fucking beautiful. I gotta ask, when you do a promo, does the accent start coming out sometimes when you do it?
Oh, I put it on. I try and let it out as much as possible, right? So within my industry, my universe of pro wrestling, when you cut a promo, you're in gimmick. You're in your character. Yeah. So you take whatever you are and you do your best to portray that in your words. Now, my gimmick is the Bodega Boy, right? I'm a kid from the Bronx. I'm my character is this is sort of annoying, arrogant townie, right? He thinks he's all that, but he never left his street corner. Mm-hmm. So I just try and play that up, right? The voice gets a little deeper, a little more annoying, and when I start mouthing off, stuff like that. So I definitely turn it more. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun. Can I get, I cop the boys, as they say.
Hey,
How long did it take you to get to your persona and figuring out your character?
Oh, what a good question. I don't think I've really hit that point where like, all right, this is what I'm going to be going forward. I feel that the best character will always evolve and change as your life changes and your mannerisms and the things you do in the ring evolve as well. But I started to really figure out that I had something in the Bodega Boy persona. I was probably a year in, maybe a little less, maybe like 8 months in. Mm-hmm. I had been working very generic good guy stuff, some bright green trunks and a matching Jets hat, right? Because I knew I was a New Yorker and I wanted to do something with that, but I didn't know how to get that across as a fully fledged character. And then somebody gave me the idea of, oh, you should walk down to the ring with a slice of pizza. I'm like, okay, that's something, right? I didn't end up doing that, but instead I chose my drink of choice, my 99-cent Arizona, and whatever else I could find in a deli. And that's how I thought of, all right, bodega. So now I can, walk down to the ring with a Lucy, a single cigarette, or, a honey bun, a pack of M&Ms, and Arizona. And then it became wear the Yankee hat, get some trunks with some pinstripes on, and make people hate me. Because it's very easy to make people that aren't from New York hate New Yorkers.
Yep.
So I just turned that up, and I figured out it's going to be easier for people to boo me. Right? I should start wrestling in tins if they weren't so big. So it dawned on me that all right, this character that I'm going to start formulating is one that is a bad guy, not a fun person to root for, but more fun to boo. And so that's something that I continue to evolve and try and add pieces to.
I was gonna say, if you call yourself something like the Bodega Boy, you can't be a good person.
Right. It's not. Most places don't even have bodegas. I went to Florida when I moved down there, and I was like, all right, so where do you get like a deli sandwich? What do you mean? Like
they don't even know what a deli sandwich is.
Buy cold cuts and then you take them home. No, you don't. You say, "There, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese," and then Poppy gives you a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
And they don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, all right, now I can use all of that.
Yeah, those, bro. Because my parents live in Florida. Those motherfuckers just buy ham and cheese and just eat it straight.
And they just take it home and they make a sandwich like a normal person.
What kind of shit is that? Yeah, like where the fuck do you put the bread? Like, what do you do? Are you just eating the bread afterwards?
I don't know. I don't know what they do, but here, and I don't know what experiences that you, Matt, and Victoria have in New York, but you can go on any other corner and there's a bodega. It's an Aquadega, it's a Papi Bodega, whatever it is. There's a little corner store where you can get a sandwich like that.
They're like historical landmines, for real. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, and we got a shitload of bodegas.
Oh, so you got it, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I got a bunch over there. Yo, Matt, I got to make sure I shout you out. we were talking so much about New York and bodegas. He just wanted to tell everybody his favorite Joe Pesci movie is My Cousin Vinny. So thanks, Matt. I appreciate you.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
I cannot get enough of that movie.
was your mother a mechanic? Was your uncle a mechanic?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Holy shit.
How
Yo,
about that?
I gotta ask you something though, because you've done a bunch of different things with your character, obviously. I do want to see you wrestling Tim's. I really like that idea, so I just want to say that now. I don't know if that would work, but I do want to see it.
I'm working in some sort of way to make wrestling shoe covers, like kickpad covers, that look like Tim's. I'm working on making that work. It's not easy.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, because wrestling and just straight Tim's, that sounds fucking terrible.
It's hard and they're heavy, and I don't know what footage you guys have seen. Crime Time did used to wrestle like that, but Crime Time doesn't dive out the ring like I do, and I'm definitely afraid to wear 8-pound shoes. And
they some fucking heavy boots.
Also, Shad Gaspar, God rest his soul, was about 7 feet tall and 800 pounds of solid muscle, so that was nothing for him. I don't know how JTG did it, because he weighed about as much as his Tim's, but... I definitely want to see that. I was going to say, my favorite clip that I've seen of you, though, because there was one where I think you were in an over-the-top battle royale, and you get launched over the top rope, and the guardrail's like fairly close to the ring in there. So he fucking catches his legs on the guardrail, and there's some girl like where he caught his legs to. So he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Just not focused on anything, being the fucking bodega boy piece of shit that he is. And somebody just like pushes him with their foot, and he ends up out of the ring. It was fucking beautiful.
So the best part about that, and I would, if the three of you haven't seen the clip, I would definitely urge you to go find it, because it wasn't on purpose. Like when I tell you that was an accident and I was supposed to just hit the floor and walk away with my tail between my legs, I hit the guardrail. My feet catch on the guardrail. My elbows catch on the apron of the ring. So I'm laying there casually, comfortably. I wave at some crowd, and then I get pushed down. And about an hour later, as I'm driving home, I realize my right ankle is about this big.
Oh, Jesus.
It swelled up like a balloon. I basically shattered the thing. But it was pretty cool. Like, I'm not even mad.
Yeah. I was going to say, it looked pretty fucking nasty because, he hits the thing really hard. But, I mean, it looks great when you watch it because, he just catches himself, you just like waving to somebody, probably starting a pickup line and some shit, but he doesn't get the chance to finish it because somebody just pushes him with their foot. It was beautiful.
I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Like a bad guy should, right? A bad guy should think he's fine and then get embarrassed. He gets his comeuppance. So.
That's how it's supposed to look. But I do want to say, when I was doing my research, for the show, because that's kind of what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to come on here not knowing what you're talking about.
I appreciate you.
I do it, and I'm like reading through like his LinkedIn and stuff. And I actually mentioned this to you last night, and I was actually worried you were pissed off because you didn't reply to it. But I, go through reading his stuff, and he talks about, the show he used to do in college, how it was 2 hours on his own. I'm like, he's bragging so fucking much. There's no way he could be a good guy.
I'm sorry. Look, if you do a 2-hour sports talk show with no one else to talk to, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, you definitely know how he's proud of it because he said talk.
Gotta gas my resume up,
He said I had nobody to talk to. Okay, that's how you know I'm proud of it. I said talk. Okay, I didn't say talk. I said talk.
No,
he's gonna start fucking moving his hands soon. I can just see him flying already.
Bounce out the chat. I'm mad. If I start talking with my hands, just leave.
Bro,
you sound like an Italian New Yorker in that accent. That was classic.
That's it. I mean, I had to point it out because that was why. And that's probably why he mentioned My Cousin Vinny. He just couldn't fucking help himself. It's beautiful, though. I love
I'm
it.
not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
But I was gonna say this guy could be like somebody from the fucking Bronx style. Like you're about to let somebody leave, they start talking shit to you. You close the door. All right, now you guys can't leave, okay?
Hell yeah, that was my shit too. I like that. I love that movie.
That was the best scene in that entire movie, bar none.
Hell
I that right now.
That's
that
a
was
great
the
movie.
best scene. Best scene
Wait.
when he was that dude owed him $20 and Sonny looked at G and said, "For $20, you just bought that man out of your life for the rest of your life." That was the best scene to me.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Honestly, I respect it. I disagree, but I gotta respect that choice. That was a good scene, 100%. I was gonna say because they just beat the shit out of him after that. It was great, but I did mention the show you did in college a little bit. It was a 2-hour sports show. You talked about football. You did both college and pro, I believe, basketball, baseball, and pro wrestling as well. So the first thing that I want to ask about the show is, I know how tough it is, trying to do a show and craft, an hour or two by yourself, because I didn't have these guys the whole time. I started with a completely different group of people. They all backed out, and I ended up doing the show by myself for years after that. So I know how tough it is, and you deserve to brag for that. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that, from, somebody else that's had to do a show by themselves. I actually really do.
Little humble brag over here. He trying to
he's right. He's right.
It's tough.
It's a lot of
really
hard. It's a lot of hard work. He gets
it. It is us.
And I'm sure you all have something that you're worth bragging about. So let him brag. It's all good.
I was gonna say I'd be an asshole if I started wrestling too. Holy shit.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a heel. I just wanted to piss people off. Just pick a random.
It's nice. It's nice to have people chant your name. It's nice to have people chant your name, but it's somehow nicer for me, at least, to have people just yelling racial slurs at you because I'm making people mad.
I mean, if you call yourself the Bodega Boy, I think you brought it on yourself. I'm not gonna lie. But yo,
that was your idea. Your idea?
Here's the thing. Me and Chyna.
That name was your idea?
No. I don't claim ownership to the name. The Bodega Boys. Actually, the Bodega Boys are this pair of dudes, Jesus and Mero. They have a Showtime show now, but they used to run a podcast years ago that they were called the Bodega Boys, and it's unused in wrestling. It's entirely unknown in my industry, and so I went ahead with that. Now I can't own it. I can't copyright it.
Well, that's cool as long as like Vince McMahon didn't name you that shit.
Right.
Vince McMahon would never be able to come up with that. Let's be real. He just sent Keith Lee back down to NXT. Vince McMahon would never come up with that. Vince McMahon has lost his fucking mind through COVID, and he doesn't even have it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, this is a really bad joke, but I'm sitting here wondering who's going to die first, Vince McMahon or Betty White?
Vince.
It just makes sense.
Betty White has a few years left in her.
Listen.
Victoria, is that not sad?
Hold on. But I got to say something. There's a silver lining. If 2020 doesn't kill Betty White, there's nothing that will. I'm convinced. If 2020 couldn't fucking do it, she will never die, ever. She will outlive me.
I'm convinced she could be a vampire. Who knows?
Like, Jesus Christ.
Way better than what she does now.
She's gonna live to be 452. But anyways, we were talking about your college radio show. So,
Sure.
You did college and pro football, baseball, basketball, pro wrestling. And you did it for 2 hours by yourself, little to no breaks. So the thing with that is, did you want to do it by yourself, or did you, want to have other people, but something happened? Because I've had both of those experiences.
So I would have guests from time to time. I would, conduct interviews, or I'd have people, just to bounce off ideas and talk about whatever things were going on. But I always thought to myself, all right, who do I enjoy watching? Who do I enjoy listening to? what way do I want to cultivate this show? And somebody who I kept coming back to that I often disagree with is Colin Cowherd. So
Okay.
Colin Cowherd is, sort of a hot take machine. I don't always love what he has to say.
Yeah.
But I admire greatly the way that he puts a show together. This
Right.
is a guy who, he's very respected within his industry because of how he puts a show together, and he always has something to say. He doesn't have
Sure.
any weak opinions, and because of that, I always kept running back to, all right, if I can segment out shows based on the opinions that I have, as opposed to just taking news of the day, I'll always be able to say enough to fill the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, this happened today, let me think of something. Or if I don't have something, it's okay because I can lean on my co-host or whoever it may be. I never wanted to do that. So I always wanted to gear a show based on, things I actually genuinely feel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So pretty much you just use the blueprint that Colin Cowherd had and kind of, put your own twist on it, basically.
Cowherd or Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman on the radio, just some of the more polarizing figures for sure, but clearly very successful in their own right.
What do you think
Yeah,
the hardest?
100%.
What do you think the hardest thing was for you to do your show?
I would say the hardest thing about doing the show was the prep. And by that, I mean, you can't watch every game. You can't watch everything that happens.
Mhm.
And oftentimes you might miss one of the larger stories because you were following something that you were personally more interested in, or vice versa, right? So I was, delivering to New York market. So I always have to watch the Jets, the Giants, the Knicks, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Mets, at least. And so I might miss a 1:00 game between the Ravens and the Colts. That was a more important game because I was more focused on the Jets. Or in the opposite, right? When it comes to two different subjects, I was watching the Monday Night Football game more closely, so I didn't get to watch Raw as intently as I would have liked to. I would say the most difficult thing of putting a show together was missing stuff and having to double back, or by the time I got back to it, it's old news.
Yeah.
Those sort of obstacles.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Because news travels fast and it becomes old really quick. I know that for sure. You report something in the morning and it's old by the afternoon. So I get where you're coming from with that totally. But I gotta say though, and I relate to this because my team for football is in the NFC least. You must be so fucking happy you're not reporting on
Eagles
football
fans?
right now. I am an Eagles fan. I'm happy. I'm happy with this past game, but other than that, that I've just been so upset when people talk about football all year long. It has not been fun.
So
I think every
listen.
Eagles fan has been. I think every Eagles fan was shocked that they actually beat the Saints, albeit
I was.
without Drew Brees and Carson Wentz playing for their respective teams. I'm at work while the game's going on, and it's 17-0 Philly. I'm like, wait, is this for real?
I had to check the score for myself because somebody told me it was 10-0. I look at it, it's 17-0. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I thought I was being punked.
I'm upset that I'm not reporting on football right now, and here's why. My
Giants.
team, New York Jets, my 0-13 New York Jets are so miserably bad that I could do an hour on them every week, and that would be that would be an easy show to make because half of it is just ranting and raving about all the things wrong in New York.
You could listen.
I would love my Jets reports every week.
After that Raiders game, you could have done 2 hours with the way they gave that game away.
I could have done a whole hour on the last drive.
Yeah, that was a 2 hour easy with how they gave that game up. I was upset for you, and I didn't even know you were a Jets fan back then. I was still upset for you.
So to answer your question, no, I'm terribly upset that I'm not doing radio right now because I could do 2 hours of the NFL every week based on how weird it is. You have Seattle looking like a great team and Russell Wilson like an MVP candidate until they lose like 3 games in a row. And then you have the NFC least, which is disgusting and appalling and embarrassing to be professional football. But then you have something beautiful and amazing like Aaron Rodgers, as spectacular he is, or Kyler Murray stepping into his own, or Josh Allen being proven to be a franchise quarterback. There are a lot of things I'd love to talk about on the air for people to hear.
Hold on. Did you see that game last night? That
Probably
fucking
the best football game of all time.
That was
That was a real great game.
That was probably
Baker
the best football game this year.
1 minute left, and then all of a sudden Lamar just goes to work after leaving the game a few minutes prior. Wild, crazy stuff.
There's a part of me that feels bad for Baker Mayfield because that was the best game of his career.
I'm a big Baker fan, big Baker supporter, so I would have liked to see him pull that W, but let's be honest, they're probably going to still finish better than the Ravens in that division.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely end up in the wild card to lose in the first round. So maybe next year.
I could see them winning one. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but they might win one.
I guess it would depend on the matchup.
What, the Browns?
Match is like no.
He's talking about the Browns?
Yes, and I've said a lot about the Browns over the last 10 years and how they ruin quarterbacks. It seems that they found one that they can't break, and that's a good thing.
No, he's determined, man. I think like Baker. I mean, I like that's my expectations, honestly. The fact that they keep winning games that they shouldn't be winning, I'll give it to them.
Not about.
No, bro, you know what that is?
I'm a Giants fan, so I don't got much to say, man.
Yeah, most of the games the Browns have won are against opponents whose record is less than 500. So it just goes to show why they're not yet a Super Bowl contender. They're more of, okay, I'll probably just win one playoff game and then peace out in the second round.
Which for the Browns, that's like the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
basically.
Yes,
exactly.
I think the last time they made the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, 2004.
I'm talking 2001.
Damn.
Oh, gee.
Winning season 2000 and I want to say 9, 2008, but they didn't even make the playoffs that year.
Well, they're gonna have a winning season this year, so.
That's another one.
Jared,
God,
the same goes to whoever wins the NFC East. Okay, whoever wins the NFC East, if they win a playoff game, that'll be the biggest part of their season. They'll get blasted in the second round, whether it's the Eagles, Cowboys, the Washington football team, or the G-Men. It's a disaster.
Yo, hold on.
I think if you win the NFC East, it's like winning.
That's a participation trophy.
It's like winning gold at the Special Olympics. I'm not disparaging the Special Olympics. I'm not disparaging the Special Olympics. I'm just saying that the competition is different. It is
I'll drink to
the
that.
rest of the league.
Hey, even the Special Olympics, what you call athletes are better than the NFCs, dude. Way far better. Don't insult them like that.
Listen.
I'm not disparaging.
I'm kidding, man.
I'm just saying it is a different level of competition right now.
Some of those plays that Carson Wentz has messed up this year, I've seen high schoolers make those plays, okay? And I call high school football. I know this for a fact.
Since he exploded his knee. He has not been the same.
Yeah. No, definitely
Well,
not.
that line
And it's a shame.
Hell up too, man. That's a whole new line.
Oh, want to talk about line? Want to talk about injuries? The Dallas Cowboys are running practice squad players out to play center with a backup quarterback or a third-string quarterback or a fourth-string quarterback in Garrett Gilbert. So we're talking about the NFC East and injuries.
And Stephen A. continue running his mouth about how bad the Dallas Cowboys are.
Bro, I live for his cowboy takes. I'm not gonna lie, I live for those.
Yeah, that's it.
Just for him to talk about blasphemous, disgraceful. There's nothing worse than a cowboy spin. They make me sick.
Man, we're boring the hell out of Victoria right now.
I was about to say she's got all the hot takes. I'm like, Victoria, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
God, she won't stop. God, you've just had all these takes all show. You won't let us get any of our opinions in about football. Like, what is with you?
I know.
Now I want to say before we do log out, You know what I mean? I could tell you're very passionate about what you do, man. You could tell by when somebody speak about what they do. You could tell you got love for it.
Yeah.
You could tell that you're definitely going somewhere, man. And I really hope you do all the best. Try to go to AEW, not AEW. No, I'm just playing. No, I really do hope you. Wish you the best, man. And thanks for coming. I'm not saying this is over, but I know.
No,
We're
I was
gonna
about to say, are you ending my show?
No, not at all. Definitely, man.
I love what I do.
Yeah, you can.
Nothing I've wanted
I
to
can
do
hear it,
more.
bro.
And as much as I love playing football and broadcasting and doing radio, there's nothing that gives me joy like walking through that curtain, performing for people for anywhere between 6 to 20 minutes.
I'm
And
pretty.
You know what?
being a kid,
You know,
out there-
bro, you know you can relate to that whenever you walk on stage, bro.
Exactly.
the-
I was about to say the same thing.
Or at this point when they put the fucking Zoom camera to you and shit. Because that's what we gotta settle for now.
And let me say,
You know,
Chino, let me say it too. I have a lot of friends who've been doing great work on AEW, on Dark, and even on Dynamite in some cases. And they've done, a lot of other people that I know that have done WWE extra work. Now, during my internship, the WWE folks over at NXT have been nothing but great to me at NXT at the Performance Center.
Okay.
So I would love nothing more than to work for them. If AEW comes a calling, that's a beautiful thing too. Any opportunity to do what I love on the highest platform possible is a right opportunity.
Listen, we got. You know what match we gotta make? You know what match we gotta make happen? We gotta make, Jared Diaz versus Orange Cassidy. Bodega Boy versus Freshly Squeezed.
I would love that. I would love every minute of that.
I fucking love
Bro,
Orange.
doesn't that just sound amazing? You get to be in the ring with somebody whose name is Freshly Squeezed.
I would love it. I came across Orange Cassidy about 2.5, 3 years ago, and when I started watching, I was like, "Oh, this is my favorite wrestler. This is my favorite wrestler."
All right, hold on. I got to explain this to Matt and Victoria because he's my favorite. He's one of my favorites right now. So this gimmick of this wrestler is a guy who doesn't even try to wrestle. Like he's so fucking lazy.
So for example, he starts the match for about the first 3-4 minutes with his hands in his pockets. He wears jeans and a denim jacket and a t-shirt. He just doesn't care. He wears his sunglasses during
Is
the
he
match.
just trying to get his ass kicked? Is that what's happening?
No, he wins.
What? Oh no.
Wait.
Bro, he beat Chris Jericho.
I implore you to look this man up on YouTube and watch as much as possible because you will laugh and you will enjoy it. At the end of the day, wrestling's a variety show, right? We all know what wrestling is in terms of its legitimacy. So if it's a soap opera in tights, and if you can find a way to make people laugh, cry, scream, whatever you want, whatever you can make them do is the right answer.
True.
And it's beautiful.
Nobody throws better super kicks than Orange Cassidy. Where he doesn't try, he's just like this.
That's how he kicks people. He means it.
Oh, God. You'd be doing that all day.
I was gonna say I can feel it kicking. I was very active right there.
I feel like you definitely
kicking.
tore a muscle over there or something.
Yeah, I pulled the hammy.
Not the hammy.
I think I heard a pop on that last kick.
Did you do
Gotcha.
any performing arts to get your wrestling?
So I never got to do high school theater or anything like that. I was so focused on football. But when I left my school in Indiana and I went to community college and started doing my radio, I also saw this time where I wasn't playing football. And a lot of my free time was just that. It was my free time. And so I, along with my regular training, I got to explore acting, explore singing, playing instruments, doing open mics. I did about 11, 12 months of acting classes at James Franco's studio in Manhattan, which was phenomenal. It was a really fantastic therapeutic experience and also very helpful when it comes to now what do I do, which is performing, which is live performance in front of people. Less so now in front of people, but sometimes in front of people. And so that acting background that I was able to start really late in, I was 20 when I started, that really helped.
Yeah.
Or
For sure.
Kind of
I
helps
wish
you
I
get
could
kind of
come
get.
more. I've always been a low key fan of like musicals and live theater, but I just wasn't able to do any of that, when I was younger.
Yeah.
First time I ever went to Broadway. I think they were doing an off Broadway production of Cabaret. That was the first time I ever got to see a Broadway play. And I was in college. I had never seen anything before that. I think I went to see Phantom of the Opera with my mom like once, but that was really the only experience I had. This was the first time I went by myself. And, you know, that, along with like, wrestling, there's nothing like it. That experience, is like one of a kind. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That sort of live performance theater, this element of anything can happen, but they've done their best to make sure that it seems the same every night to some degree. It's a phenomenal experience.
Chino, you want to know what was a fun few days I had of, just comedy and musicals? I did a show at Mohegan Sun, right? This was the first ever show I did there. Me and Abby, it's a casino called Mohegan Sun. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, but I did it. I did a show there, and we come back the next day, and I find out she's got tickets for Beetlejuice. I think we still actually have the cup for it, but it's in my cabinet, and I'm not getting that. I already threw super kicks. This is not happening. So, but yeah, no, we go from that show. I kill it that night. We come. We park. Over at my old college in Jersey City, and we take the path over to New York. And we end up walking a little bit past Caroline's. We go there, we buy the cups, we have a drink, one drink, because Broadway fucking drinks are like $58 for no fucking reason. And after that, I forget what the place was called. I think Starland Diner we went to after that.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that was probably, it wasn't as good as the play, but it was like up there because I wasn't ready for it. It was the first time I went there.
Diner for folks who aren't from New York or in the area, basically a diner where the staff performs. They perform musicals and musical numbers while you eat and while you are served, which is very cool.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
Sort of a New York landmark.
Yeah, no, 100% should be. But I do want to talk about.
They'll be like, what do you want? That's it.
Except they sing it to you.
Yeah, true.
They don't actually sing your order back to you. If they did, that'd be fucking phenomenal, pun intended. But
extra tip.
But I do want to talk about your experiences with WWE and NXT as well. You did that for a lot of 2019, if I remember correctly. You got to work, with Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, all those guys. I'm sure you worked with a ton of wrestlers as well. You conducted interviews, of course, so that would only make sense. Tell me about, that experience as a whole, some of your favorite moments from it. Give me kind of like the lowdown on that.
Sure. So just to backtrack a little bit, I went to Full Sail University, which is the entertainment and media college that, in Orlando, Florida, that has a very solid relationship with WWE. NXT shows, which is their developmental program, they're hosted at Full Sail's arena. So when I was looking into where I wanted to transfer out of my community college, I came across Full Sail. I knew they didn't have any sports, but I knew they had this relationship already cultivated with WWE. I thought to myself, if I go to that school and I knock on the right doors or I shake the right hands, I'm sure I can land myself some sort of internship or student work program with WWE. I go there, that's exactly what I'm able to do. I'm a few months in, and they tell me, and I had already asked a few times about how I can get involved. They tell me we're starting a program with our broadcasting students that will land you in the Performance Center a few times a week. You will learn from these guys. You'll work with talent, and it could potentially turn into a job. So I go on the interview. I'm the first one hired because I'm the first one interviewed because I wanted it that damn bad. And there were 5 other people that were hired as well. You walk into the Performance Center. this beautiful gym with like 9 different rings in it for people to train in. And then off to the side is this like big media room where there's a ring that is used solely for promos or interviews or practicing entrances. So we worked a lot in that area. And so every day that we would be in the performance center, we would check in with either Tom Phillips or Byron Saxton or Caleb Braxton, all of which are current WWE TV talent. They're touring the country, and then they come back to the performance center and they help us with his internship. During this internship, we got to interview the NXT talent, from names as big in wrestling as Keith Lee or Ricochet to younger or less experienced talent like Xia Li or Canzaro or Kaden Carter. We worked with the entire roster at some point, or at points in time. This internship was 7 months, and it went even through WrestleMania season. So it was an incredible experience. It was everything that I could have asked for and more.
What was WrestleMania season like? Because I can imagine, if you're working it, it's crazy. Not so much for the wrestlers nowadays, but
we didn't get to be a part of Mania season, but we actually got to get a little bit more involved with NXT Takeover. We didn't work with any main roster talent, but all of the NXT talent that we got to work with. And again, this is Takeover season, so these are their biggest shows of the year. Guys like Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole,
oh my God,
all of the best, Ciampa, all of Keith Lee, Trevor Lee, who is it's skipping.
It's all good, man.
But just so much talent, so many amazing guys in there, and all of which were really generous and really like willing to work with us and help us. And so myself as well as the other interns, we were able to pick the brains of the best wrestlers in the world and the best talent and announcers as well. I was calling matches with Byron Saxton in the practice room, which is not something that most people can say. So, and I was also, I was doubly fortunate because as a pro wrestler, I took a little bit from what I already knew and brought it to the internship. But what was even better was that I took what I learned at the internship and I brought it back to my own work. So when I would shadow people at the NXT live shows all around, Florida little armories and high school gyms, because they're not just in large arenas, they're in the tiny ones too. So when I was able to shadow guys like John Quasto and Caleb Braxton, both of which were like their traveling NXT talent, I would be, putting my ear to the ground and listening to people like Keith Lee and Dijak and Shayna Baszler calling these matches. I was also very lucky to, my ex-girlfriend, the person I was dating at the time, she worked at a tanning salon where Danny Burch's wife owned the place. So all the wrestlers were in there. So now I'm running into these people in regular life, as well as seeing them in the internship. I don't mean to drop names, but I spent 4th of July with Rhea Ripley, Britt Baker, and Adam Cole, Ricochet, Casey Catanzaro.
That's cool.
And I was able to, make a makeshift friendship with some of them, which was amazing. Because now I get to ask them for advice or just pick their brains, and that made my work that much better. But it also allowed me to just meet the nicest, coolest people in the whole industry. Adam Cole was probably, for a long time, was the biggest bad guy in the company. He was the nicest guy I've ever met, ever, to this day. So I'm oh my God, my brain
that is pretty mind blowing.
Just reflecting on all these experiences.
No, because what Mike told me when.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good, man. I love the passion for sure. But when I first heard about you, obviously, again, it was from Mike. He told me like about you being in NXT. He told me about you training with Ricochet. That was all I got from Mike, and then I see this guy's Instagram, I see, all the, posts he does, all the swagged out heel stuff he's doing. And, I realize, how deep he is in this, which, I assumed if you're in NXT anyway, but, that I get to see it, firsthand, when I get to do my prep for my show. That was, a cool experience, because I can tell that, you're passionate about this before I even say anything about it to you. So, I appreciate the passion, for something that you love to do. I definitely 100% do.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. Being able to be in that building and learn so much and absorb and just, shake all these hands. And so when that internship finished and I was nearing graduation, I was very much pursuing a position with WWE. COVID hits and I'm essentially forced to move back to New York, and they lay off 40% of their workforce.
Yeah.
Kind of puts that, under the thumb of the disease. But I'm still very optimistic that when things get a little bit more back to normal, and I'll be able to, reconnect and hopefully continue pursuing a position with them, whether it be, in the ring or on the microphone and on commentary or whatever experience or opportunity might come. I'm excited to have them.
You know what I love though? Like when they have a lot of guys on commentary, that have managed to work their way back in the ring. I remember when Jerry Lawler was part-time, CM Punk did commentary for a time, which was weird. He wore Triple H's blazer one night. I remember that.
He had a hip surgery. This is something that Phillips actually was that he had a hip surgery and they didn't want to take him off TV, so they just made him do commentary.
No, because the thing was, I was checking out, Ray Paquette's new podcast, formerly Renee Young, and she had him on, and they actually started talking about it. And he's talking about how he was like, oh yes, I'm not gonna need surgery, but I can stay home. And then Vince calls him up. He's like, yeah, okay, it's great. You don't need surgery. We want you to do well, I don't know why my voice sounds like that, but. That's the worst Vince McMahon impression I think anybody's ever done. Like you ever hear somebody sing with like a deep scratchy voice like that, like
Armstrong impression,
yeah. Although he did, although listen, he did do a music video one time. Let's not forget. I don't remember what the song was, but
it was in the 80s, bro.
And it lives rent free in my brain.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! I shouldn't have made myself think of that.
Now you guys have to look up two things: Orange Cassidy and the Vince McMahon's Stand Back video. Just trust me on that one.
Oh, okay, that's what it was called. Stand Back. Shit. All right, cool. I got it. But we are running out of time though, so I do want to say to both Matt and Jarrett. Matt, I appreciate, you being the guest host and everything. You were great. I got to learn a lot about you as well, and I appreciate that. Definitely over the last 2 days as well. I didn't know you and Matt and Hero knew each other, which, that was a shock to me. I didn't even know he was at the Fanatic, so, definitely learned a lot I wasn't planning on, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me either, so
I know.
I'm glad we got to know each other prior to it tonight.
Hey man, I learned your favorite movie is My Cousin Vinny when you typed it in the message bar that I never use. But
just to be clear, that's my favorite Joe Pesci movie. I have other favorites outside of it, but that's just one of the few.
Yeah, he's been in so many movies. You can have a favorite for him. I think that's fine. But once again, thank you, man. I appreciate you, and thank you, Jarrett, for coming on the show, being able to do this with us. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I would love to talk again sometime. And
yeah, I would love to have you back.
You guys have a cool report. Got the salad.
Yeah, you already know, buddy.
I would love to talk to you guys again. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
definitely. When everything gets back to normal, let's all try to hit up a fucking bodega with the Bodega Boy. All right.
Listen, when I have a show in the Philly, Jersey area, I will let y'all know.
All right, man. I appreciate you. All right. Anyways, guys, this has been the Roundtable here on HamiltonRadio.net, channel HR2. I am your host, John Brecco. I will try not to let this much chest hair show next time. I apologize for that. Anyways, John Brecco, Victoria Scaflin, Chino De Leon, your usual suspects. Ruben doing the engineering, not cutting my theme song short this time. Almost too fucking long. Matt host. Jared Diaz as our special guest. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back same time next week, same channel. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time. Deuces, everybody.
This is Bill
Peace out,
Cosby,
man.
music and fun. And if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Hey, hey, hey.